Hi everyone, Mr. Nchuso here. This is going to be a how to draw video on making 3D shapes and also how to make some illusionary art. So art that plays tricks on your eyes, or some people also like to call it op art or optical illusionary art. So how this will work is we're going to talk about how to make a 3D shape, again, using like a flat piece of paper. So shapes that when they're done, they might look kind of like this, almost like they're see-through, like made out of glass, or like maybe like this almost kind of looks like a block of ice. So something that you can see through. So if you draw a square on your paper, you can use anything you have. So if you have pencil, crayon, marker, any sort of paper, scratch paper you can use to draw. But we're going to make a cube. So we're going to turn the square into a 3D shape. We're going to make it into a cube. So I'm going to draw, after you draw that first square, another square a little bit farther down and a little bit off to the side. And you're going to have some of that square going inside of the first square that you drew, and that's okay. But you can see how this square and all squares have 1, 2, 3, 4 points to them. And same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4 points to them. But you can see how these points are the same on both squares, because let's say this is point 1 and point 1. This is point 2 and point 2. This is point 3 and point 3. And this is point 4 and point 4. So they all have the same points. What I'm going to do is connect a line, a straight line that goes from point 1 to point 1, point 2 to point 2, point 3 to point 3, and point 4 to point 4. And that'll make it look like this is a three-dimensional shape that's see-through. Kind of like, again, the cube is made out of glass. And you could do these with other shapes too. Let's say if you have a triangle, you would just do the same thing. So you make another triangle a little off to the side of it, a little bit down and a little bit to the side. And again, triangle has 1, 2, 3 sides, same as this other one, 1, 2, 3 sides. And I'm just going to draw a straight line that goes from point 1 to point 1, point 2 to point 2, and point 3 to point 3. And that's how you can make another see-through transparent 3D shape. So the thing about 3D shapes is that they have one extra thing compared to like a flat shape, like a square. So up and down on a shape, that is called the height of the shape. And then left to right, this is called the width of the shape. I'm going to put an H for height and a W for width. Now, a 3D shape has one extra thing. That is called depth. And that's how far back, I'm going to put a D for that. That's how far back a shape goes into space. So height is how tall, width is how long, and depth is how far back. Those are the differences. So if you want to experiment, even you can try different shapes on your own. Maybe if you want to try a more complicated shape like a star or like a pentagon, it's up to you what sort of things you want to try. But these are just the basic starting points of this. So the other project that I want to talk about, if you would like to work on this instead, is talking about how to make a infinity triangle. Now, I practiced making this a couple times before this video, but I have two that look like this. But it basically looks like the sides of the triangle like kind of loop and overlap on top of one another. I know another name for this triangle is the impossible triangle, because it would be impossible to create this in real life. So it's kind of playing that trick on your eye because the sides keep overlapping one another, and it would be impossible for this to have that sort of angle. So it's an op art, or an art that plays tricks on your eye. So if you want to try to make one of these, here is the first step. I'm going to go step by step with you on how to make this. Here we go. So we are going to start by making, like in the middle of your paper, an upside down triangle. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. After that, this side of the triangle right here, we're going to extend a little bit. This line, we're going to make it a little bit longer down to here. And then we're going to draw a line that comes up. It's going to be at the same angle as this line that we just drew, but we're going to draw a line that comes up and goes past that triangle that we just drew. There's going to be about like, you're going to draw this line about as much as you would draw like the same shape or same size of if you drew another triangle on top of this one. So it should go a little bit farther than that first triangle you drew. After that, we're going to make this side of the triangle come out a little bit more. Again, if I'm going too fast for anyone, please feel free to pause the video or go back in the video. If you need to try this again too, if you don't get it the first time you do it, that's okay. You could always try again. And then we're going to make another line that's angled the same way that this line is coming off of that. So this line, we're just coming down, making sure it's at the same angle as this line over here, and having it go a little bit past about, again, the size of a triangle, this first triangle that you drew coming down here. And then after that, we are going to draw a line that comes from this point of this line that we just drew. Again, it's going to be at the same angle, so everything's going to be at the same angle as like the other lines that are lined up with it. So this line and this line are at an angle that's like this. So this line's also going to be at an angle that's like that. But we're going to draw a line that comes up like this. And then you're going to close these two lines off and connect them together like this. So this shape right here, if you just look at this, is going to look kind of like a bubble letter number 7. So it kind of looks like a number 7 or almost like a letter L on its side. After that, we're going to add a couple extra lines. This side of the triangle right here, we're going to extend out a little bit like this. Again, about as much as another triangle would be. So about as high as that. So boop, just gets extended out a little bit like this. And then we're going to draw a line that comes off the top of this. Boop. And extends past this line a little bit. So just a nice straight line, boop, and it goes a little bit past there. And then that line that we just drew, we're going to draw a line that comes down, and it's going to be at the same angle. So I'm going to put this down at an angle, my Sharpie, at the same angle as this line that we drew. Like this. And I'm going to end a little bit before I hit this line and match it up, because I'm going to close this off, boop, right there. And you can see right now we have like one number 7 and 2 number 7s. You can see like this one that's done. You're eventually going to have 1, 2, like 3 number 7s or letter L's to combine to make this impossible triangle. So the last step is we are going to add a line that comes off of this point right here. And we're going to extend it out until it almost matches that line right there, a little bit before that line. And then we're going to close it off like this with a angled line. And then you have your drawn impossible triangle. Now, as far as coloring it in, I did it 2 different ways. If you want to try to color it by doing 3 different sections, like one of the number 7s or letter L's is colored in with one color, another's another, another's another, so it'd be 3 different to separate it, you can. Or if you want to try to practice doing some shading techniques, you can do that too. We'll probably talk about shading a lot more as we continue this online learning. But if you want to experiment on your own, feel free, but it is up to you. Again, you do not have to do this project. If anyone's having a hard time with this, I understand. I had a little bit of trouble the first time I drew one of these. So if you'd rather stick to the 3D shapes, or if you'd rather do one of the other options, that's okay. You get to choose. But anyway, everybody, I hope you have a good day. Thanks for joining me during this video, and I will see you next time. All right, bye, everyone.